She kissed my shoulder, slid out of bed, and said, "Don't peek. I'm making the good bacon." That line should have been harmless. It felt off, like she'd rehearsed it. Emily moved around the kitchen the way she always did, bare feet, hair up, radio low. The house smelled like coffee and butter. I set the table, grabbed plates from the top cabinet, tried not to read into anything. We'd done this for years. She handled breakfast. I owned dinner. It wasn't a chore list, it was our rhythm. "You're too calm for your own birthday," she teased, dropping scrambled eggs with chives. "I'm saving all my energy for tonight," I told her. "I plan to impress your mother by not burning the roast." "She loves you," she said, sliding into the chair across from me. "She complains because it's cardio." We ate. We joked. We traded headlines. When I stood to rinse the plates, she leaned into my back like she always did and squeezed. Warm. Familiar. Then her phone buzzed on the counter. She lifted it, read, and turned the screen face down. "Work?" I asked, drying my hands. She shook her head. "It's nothing. Don't get nosy on your birthday." Wouldn't dream of it. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have lit a different candle under this day. She packed her bag, called from the hallway that she might be out at lunch grabbing something for later, and blew me a kiss at the door. I headed to my shop for an hour, checked a couple of client emails, then came back to start the prep for the party. Family, friends, backyard lights, long table, simple, noisy, ours. I ran through the list we'd made together. Charcuterie board, salads, the roast, cupcakes my sister Megan was picking up, cooler with ice. Our best friends, Luis from the contractor crew and his wife Claire, planned to arrive early to help set up. At 9, Emily texted, "Good morning. I need to meet someone. Back soon." "Sure. See you later," I wrote. It sounded like a surprise mission, and I wasn't 12. Good. Let her have fun building the mystery. I kept moving. The house looked right. The music checked out. The plates aligned like soldiers on the table. I laid out the good cloth napkins because Emily loved those, and because I liked that she loved those. Around 11, the sun warmed up the patio. Carl, our next-door neighbor and HOA philosopher, leaned over the fence. "You're the birthday man," he said. "Need my folding chairs? I'll take them and pretend I'm self-reliant." He carried over a stack, and we arranged the seating. "Am at the store?" he asked. "Out picking something up," I said. "Tell her the tomato vines are not HOA-compliant artwork," he grinned, then lowered his voice. "You two throw good nights. Happy for you, man." "Thanks, Carl. I meant it. I wanted tonight to be loud and uncomplicated. I wanted my people around me." At noon, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Your wife is with my husband." A drop pin followed. I sat on the arm of the couch because my legs forgot their job. Looked again. Same line. Same pin. A mid-priced restaurant 10 minutes away, the place where Emily and I sometimes went on Fridays when we didn't want dishes. I called the number. It rang and rang into quiet. I called Emily. Straight to voicemail. I tried again. Nothing. "Okay," I said to the empty room, because sometimes hearing yourself makes it real. "All right. I could have driven there. I didn't. Not because I was scared. Because I wanted facts, not theater. You walk into a place at noon with suspicion and what? Grab a wrist. That's teenage stuff. If there was a line being crossed, the house would feel it by evening. People would be here. People who loved us. People who could read eyes and hands and distances between chairs. If I was wrong, no harm done. If I wasn't, it would close the debate forever. So I set my own rule. No calls, no chasing. I'd wait. She'd walk herself where she chose. And I'd move the board. Megan called from her SUV. "I got cupcakes. Also candles. Do you want the sparkler ones? They look like a fire marshal's nightmare." "Regular will do." "You good?" she asked. Megan reads air like a meteorologist. "I'm adjusting the seating chart." "For who?" "For truth," I said. "Mark, that better be you being philosophical and not weird. Stop by an hour early." "Copy," she said. "I'll bring a bottle of something that tastes like celebration and regret." At 1, another text from Emily. "Running around. Promise you'll like it." I stared at the 3 bubbles longer than I should have. Typed a heart, deleted it. Typed, "Great. See you soon." Left it at that. Luis swung by at 2. He's 6'3", laughs big, and puts his hands on the work like the wood pays him compliments. He looked at me, then at the neat rows of plates. "You're straightening in straight lines," he said. That your tell. People notice the stupidest things, I replied. What do you need? I need to keep my word. If I say I'm hosting, I'm hosting. He nodded. I'll ice the drinks. Claire'll handle the flowers. You take 20, breathe, and pretend to be delighted by forks. Pretending's not my sport. That's why I like you. But pretend anyway. By 4, the house was dressed. I showered, shaved, put on the shirt Emily bought me for a conference last year, her favorite. I looked at myself in the mirror and thought, you were happy this morning. That's not a crime. The unknown number hadn't answered the 3 times I tried it again. I stopped calling. I wiped the counters that didn't need wiping. I set a timer for the roast. I checked the pin on my phone, unreadable and stubborn. At 5, I made the move I'd decided on. I texted the family group. Change of plan. Dinner at 6:30 at Emerson's on Maple. Meet here at 6 if you want a caravan. No surprises, just trying something different. Claire pinged. That place is hard to book, birthday wizard. You pull strings? Pulling strings, I wrote back. I didn't call the restaurant. Didn't need to. Walk-ins happen if you bring a smile and a party pressure. And if they didn't take us, we'd be at the door anyway. This wasn't about a reservation. It was about a reveal, whichever way it fell. At 5:30, Emily finally texted. Traffic. I'll be close to 6. Don't start without me. Also, didn't you hide the lighter? I can't find anything in this kitchen. I'd moved the lighter yesterday to the drawer nearest the stove. I could picture her exaggerating annoyance, playing normal. It would have been easier to get mad then. I didn't. I wrote, we're heading to Emerson's. Meet us there. She sent back a string of dots. Then, since when? Since right now. It'll be fun, I added. Cool, she replied. See you there. Megan walked in with the cupcakes at 6, took one look at my face, and put the box down. What happened? Nothing I can't handle. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting before dinner. You're impossible, she said, but softer. I'll drive behind you. If anyone needs a shield, I can be loud on command. That's my sister, I said. Family arrived in a wave. My mom, my father-in-law Ray with his quiet jaw, Emily's mother Janet with her opinions wrapped in perfume, Carl from next door, because he's half family anyway. Friends filed in with nervous energy and paper-wrapped packages. I lifted my glass. Change of plan, I said. We're celebrating at Emerson's. I want our night to be easy, and Emerson's has chairs with actual back support. And real dessert, Janet chimed. Get in your cars, I said. Follow me. Is Emily meeting us there? Claire asked. She said she would. I met her eyes. Let's go find out. The caravan rolled out like a parade of cautious hope. The sky was that clear late afternoon blue that makes you think anything's forgivable. We pulled into Emerson's lot one after another. Through the windows, I could see soft light, the bar's brass rail, servers moving like they'd done this forever. We walked in. The host saw the size of our group and started stalling with menus. I glanced past him toward the back corner, the booth near the painting of the local lighthouse. It's where you sit if you want to be half hidden and half seen. Emily sat there. Across from her, a man I'd seen twice at community events, mid-30s, wedding ring, the kind of guy who calls everyone buddy. They were in close. Head tipped, hand on his sleeve. Her smile wasn't our kitchen smile. It was new, polished for a different life. I stopped. The people behind me stopped, because that's what people do when the person in front of them becomes a wall. Janet saw what I saw and raised her voice without gauge. Emily, what are you doing? It hit the room the way every loud mother hits a room. Eyes turned. The man slid out of the booth, put a hand up like a car salesman declining a trade-in, and walked fast toward the back hallway. He didn't look at me. He didn't look at anyone. Emily's face drained. She stood, shoved her chair in too hard, and reached for words with empty hands. Mark, this is... Don't, I said. Not loud. Not soft. Just done. She looked at the crowd behind me. My mother, her parents, Megan holding a cupcake box like it was evidence, Claire's hand on Luis's sleeve. Our neighbor Carl. People who had eaten at our table and laughed on our patio and watched us be a unit. It's not, she started. Ray, who doesn't say anything unless it needs to be said, exhaled through his nose. Which counts as an essay. Janet pointed at Emily again. How could you? On his birthday. My birthday became the least interesting thing in the building. The host stammered about seating us at the banquet table. He could have offered me a throne. I wasn't sitting. I looked at Emily. I looked at our people. I put the keys to our house in my pocket like they were a verdict. I stepped closer to her. Pack your things, I told her. Leave my house. Her mouth opened, closed. She reached toward me, stopped when I didn't lean forward. She tried for humor because that had saved her before. You're being dramatic. Then call it theater, I said. You're not welcome at my home tonight. I can explain, she tried again. I'm not listening, I answered. I turned to the group. Dinner's canceled. We'll do coffee at my place in an hour. No speeches. No questions right now. Janet made a sound like brakes on a hill. You don't get to. I raised a hand. Your family. You're welcome. She isn't. That's the rule as of now. It was a new rule, and I said it where it would stick. I walked out. The others followed because momentum is an honest salesman. Behind me, I heard Emily say my name once, like a test. I didn't stop. Luis caught up to me in the parking lot. Do you want to hit something? He asked. No. You want me to handle something? No. Good, he said. Because you're handling it. Back at the house, I opened the front door and let people in. The table still looked ready. The roast still smelled like patience. Megan rubbed my arm once, then set the cupcakes on the counter and started making coffee for 12 like someone training for a crisis. Claire put plates away. Carl collected the candles like he could light a nicer planet. Janet came up to me, eyes blazing. You can't just. I can, I said, meeting her straight. And I did. She's my daughter. And this is my home. Ray touched her elbow. Janet, he said. Just that. She shut up. Not because she agreed, but because she knows that tone. I went to the bedroom, pulled out 2 suitcases, and placed them on the guest bed. I set a stack of boxes by the door. I printed a list of things she owned because logistics are kinder than shouting. Clothes, personal files, makeup, keepsakes. I wrote times. I wrote that I'd be present so nothing went missing and no one told stories later. My phone buzzed. Emily. I'm coming home. We're not doing this in front of people. I wrote back. You lost the right to decide where we do this. Your access code won't work. Knock. You'll collect tomorrow at 9. Bring someone if you need help. She sent a long paragraph that started with you're overreacting and ended with don't make me the bad guy. I didn't read the middle. I turned off the notifications from her number for the night. It wasn't about punishment. It was about quiet. People settled in the living room like they didn't know where to put their faces. I stood where I normally carved the roast. Mark, my mom said softly. Do you want to call Pastor Jim? No, I said. I'm not outsourcing this. Luis cleared his throat. We'll sit, we'll eat, and we'll leave. No speeches. Exactly, I said. We ate in near silence, which is its own confession. I didn't taste anything. I poured coffee because it gave my hands something to do. People hugged me on the way out like I'd been injured, and they didn't know the etiquette. When the door closed for the last time, I put the leftovers in containers, wiped down the counters, turned off the dining room light, and stood in the dim kitchen without the morning radio. I slept on the couch. Not because I had to, because I wasn't going to sleep in a bed warmed by someone who'd used up our best smile elsewhere. At 8 the next morning, I met Dana, an old college friend who's now a family law specialist, at a diner near Maine. You look like you took a punch and decided to go for a run, she said, setting down her mug. I got a message yesterday, I told her. Anonymous. Pinned to Emerson's. I moved the party there and found Emily having a private matinee. Dana whistled low. You didn't go straight at noon. Not a cop chase. Needed context. I got it. What do you want? I want the noise down. I want the house to be mine. I want our accounts separated today. I'll handle what's fair. I won't do drama. She slid a packet across the table. Here's a list of steps. Bank first, then credit cards, then a formal notice. Don't move money, just draw a bright line. Do you want a temporary agreement for the house? Yes, I said. Kids? No. Pets? No. Just us and a yard full of lights. Good, she said. Easier for paperwork. Harder for you. I'm not confused about what hurts, I replied. But pain doesn't negotiate. Dana smiled without warmth. You always were a headline writer. I went to the bank right after. I opened a new account. I set my paycheck to land there. I called the utility company and split the accounts so no one could turn my lights into leverage. I canceled the joint card, issued a single one in my name, and sent an email with the dry points. This account will cover the mortgage and regular bills. You'll receive a list of your items to pick up. We will communicate by email about logistics only. No calls. At 9, I was home with the suitcases lined up like they were about to tell the truth. Emily arrived with her mother. Janet walked in with a face like she owned shares of my hallway. Emily's eyes were red. She looked smaller in the doorway, like the day had stolen height from her. I'm sorry, she started. Say it in email, I said. Today is boxes. That's cold. It's clear, I replied. Mark, she said, stepping forward, offering the softer version. Please. Yesterday was chaotic. I messed up. I love you. You know I do. You saved that for when you didn't like the rule, I said. It doesn't buy you a vote. Janet folded her arms. You're not even going to hear her. I already did. Just not with my ears. Who texted you? Emily blurted. Who sent you the pin? Why would someone do that on your birthday? I don't know, I said. Maybe someone who got tired of being lied to. Maybe someone who couldn't stand watching a nice kitchen get used for practice. That's not fair, she said. I'm not writing a memoir, I answered. I'm setting the calendar. I made you breakfast, she said, sounding surprised at her own words, like they were a receipt. I ate it, I said. I appreciated it. It doesn't change the bill. She walked past me to the guest room and started packing clothes. Janet followed, muttering to herself about men who overreact and women who make one mistake and pay forever. Ray stood in the doorway with his hands in his pockets and said nothing. Megan arrived 5 minutes later because she'd promised to be there during pickup. She stopped next to me, looked toward the guest room, then at me. You good having me here? She asked. I want witnesses, I said. I don't want narratives. Emily came out carrying a box of winter sweaters. Where am I supposed to go? She asked, like I'd scheduled this without an address. You have parents, I said, glancing at Janet, who lifted her chin like she'd built a place just for this. You're throwing away our life, Emily told me. No, I said. You threw it at a table. I'm just not picking it up. Can we talk tonight? She tried. Just us. No audience. We'll figure it out. No, I said. We won't. Don't you want to know why? She asked. No, I said again. Because there isn't a reason that makes me respect myself while staying. She set the box down and stepped closer. Mark, please. I'll change. I'll do whatever. I'll go to. She stopped short of promising therapy because it sounded like a coupon. I'll fix it. That's not how this works, I said. You don't get to put the fire out after the house catches just to keep the address. Janet jumped in. He's being cruel. No, he's being concise, Megan answered before I could. Which is new, and I kind of like it. Emily reached for my hand. I stepped back. Don't touch me, I said. We're not doing that while we're dividing the silverware. She swallowed, took her boxes, carried them out to Janet's SUV. She came back for a framed photo of us at the lake. She stared at it too long. Leave that, I said. It's staying with the house. Why do you get to decide? Because I still live here. She took another box instead. On the porch, Carl pretended to be trimming his shrubs. He wasn't subtle, and I didn't require it. Emily saw him and straightened, trying to smile like she was running late for book club. He lifted 2 fingers in a neighbor's salute and kept trimming. He'll have a story for the HOA newsletter that never gets written. She finished packing the immediate things by 11 and stood in the entryway with her keys in her hand. Do I still have a key? She asked, like maybe the rules had changed while she carried boxes. Drop it, I said, holding out a small ceramic bowl. You can pick up the rest Thursday at 10. I'll have it stacked by the door. That's humiliating, she said. Being humiliated isn't the worst thing that happened this week, I answered. She placed the key in the bowl. Metal on ceramic, 1 clean note in a quiet room. I hate you right now, she said, finally honest. Good, I said. It'll help you move. They left. Ray looked back at me over his shoulder, once like a man who wants to fix something with his hands and knows he can't. When the door clicked shut, I exhaled. Not relief, not grief, just an inventory check. Lungs still worked, floor still held, coffee still tasted like a decision. I texted Dana and confirmed the documents. I texted Luis and told him I'd be in the shop in the afternoon because routine beat spiraling. By 2, I was planing a piece of maple for a client shelf. Luis watched me work, quiet. You're not talking, he said. Nothing to say that makes it better, I replied. You want me to call the guy? He asked. The one from the restaurant. No, I said. He's done being relevant. Claire brought over a casserole because that's what decent people do. She set it on the counter and patted the dish like it might take offense. "You'll eat," she said. "If not, I'll personally come over and feed you like you're 90. "Please don't," I said. "But thank you." At 6, Emily texted again. "I'm sorry. I panicked yesterday. I got ahead of myself. I don't even know what I was doing. I miss home. Let me come by at 8, just to talk. I made those little lemon bars you like." There it was, softness as strategy. The first time, I might have fallen for it. Tonight, I had fresher ink on my rules. I replied, "Emails only. Pick up Thursday. Don't come by unannounced." She sent back a heart. Then, "I love you. I can fix this." No answer from me. Another heart. Then, "Please." Silence. Thursday, she showed up with a different tactic. She dressed like the version of herself from our first year. Jeans, white tee, ponytail, eyes wide open. She had a folder with color-coded tabs. She'd labeled boxes. She had a bag of my favorite coffee beans. "I thought I could make a pot while I pack," she said. "We could talk like normal." "We don't have a normal," I said. "We have a schedule." "Since when are you this cold?" she asked. "Since I learned slow warmth is how men get boiled." She blinked like that line stung. Good. I meant it to sting me too, so I wouldn't forget it. She packed. She tried for jokes. "You can finally put the couch where you want without me moving it back when you leave for work." "I already did," I said. "Of course you did." She carried her boxes out. On her last trip, she stopped in the hallway and touched the door frame we'd painted together. "I don't want to be the bad memory of this house," she said. "Then stop visiting the house as a memory," I replied. That night, she called at 11. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail, crying, repeating my name, saying everyone was mad at her, even her father, even her friends, that she'd made a mistake and didn't know how to undo it. I deleted it without replay, not because I have no heart, because I didn't want to memorize that sound and use it as currency against myself later. The unknown number texted once more a week after. "You did what I couldn't. Thank you." No name. No pin this time. Just confirmation that I hadn't hallucinated. I stared at it for a minute, then archived the thread. Mystery solved enough. The papers moved fast because Dana moves like a surgeon. We signed what needed signing. There were assets and there were receipts, and none of it required shouting. When it was done, I boxed up the last of Emily's things, set them in the garage, and sent a final email. "Everything that's yours is ready. This is the last pickup window, Saturday 9 to 10 a.m. After that, I'll donate what's left. This will be our last communication unless it's about paperwork. Take care." She wrote back a paragraph about how I'd regret being so final. I didn't. Saturday, she took the boxes. She didn't try to come inside. Maybe because Carl was in his yard again, pruning nothing, watching everything. She drove away with her mother. I watched the taillights turn at the end of the street and felt the house exhale for the first time in days. I changed the passcode on the front door. I took down the string lights we'd hung together, half out of spite, half out of taste, and put up new ones I liked better. I removed a shelf she'd insisted on and built something sturdier out of oak. The place felt like mine in the way a tool feels when you stop borrowing it. Work steadied me. Clients kept coming because skill doesn't care about your home life. I added 2 accounts. I bought a used F-150 from a guy on the crew who was upgrading. Megan set me up on a hiking group chat I ignored until the 3rd invitation, then showed up and realized moving your legs uphill is a decent way to remind yourself of simple math. 1 foot, then the other. 3 months later, on a Saturday, I was in the hardware aisle choosing a new sander pad when a woman asked me if I knew the difference between coarse and the other kind that eats wood. "You mean aggressive," I said. "Right," she laughed. "I'm teaching myself to fix shelves. My name's Sophia." "Mark," I said. We stood there comparing grit and the merits of patience over speed. I liked that she didn't oversell herself. I liked that I didn't sell anything either. Sophia and I started getting coffee after the hiking group. She asks about my work and listens like she's learning a trade. I don't bring up Emily because I'm not introducing a ghost to a new room. When it does come up, I state the facts and the boundaries I set. Sophia nods like that's the way adults do it. As for Emily, I hear about her the way you hear about weather in a town you left, secondhand, factual. She moved into a small apartment near her job. Her mother's visits got shorter. Her former circle got quieter around her, because people are allergic to what happened at Emerson's. I don't cheer for any of that. It's not a sport. It's consequence. I kept the house. I kept the morning coffee. I changed the radio station. I cook both breakfast and dinner now, and none of it tastes like a negotiation. I still put 2 plates out sometimes when I have friends over, and the table doesn't care who sits where because Wood doesn't read stories into use. Once in a while, usually early, I think about the text that started the real day of my birthday. Your wife is with my husband. I don't know who sent it. I don't need to. Whoever it was handed me a mirror. I looked into it and saw a man who could either explain himself into a circle or walk in a straight line. I chose the line. The last words I ever said to Emily, face to face, were in the doorway with her last box in hand. She tried one more time. You're really not going to let me back in, she said, like it was a dare. No, I told her. I don't live in the past, and you don't live here. Then I closed the door. Not a slam, just a seal. The house is quiet now, but not empty. I've got work in the shop, a truck that starts, a sister who texts sarcastic check-ins, a couple friends who show up with beer and leave with chairs, and a woman who hikes beside me and tells good stories about bad shelves. I didn't win anything. I just kept my name intact. That's enough.